Yo, what's up, everybody? This is LB here, back at y'all with another one. Shout out to the whole LGBC Lions Den basketball community. Check it, Too Raw, Mahoney Sports Podcast. James Hayes. Make sure to go subscribe to the respective channels. Give the video a like, hit subscribe. Also, subscribe to the Patreon, where I talk about things there that I won't talk about here, because YouTube on that stuff or whatever like that. But anyway, let's get right into the funk, right? Hope everyone having a good morning. And yeah, man, let's talk about the NBA because we got 6 games on today. Later on in this particular stream, I'll give my thoughts on what happened yesterday. And needless to say, the Lakers definitely took the day off yesterday. Now, I don't know if it was the fact that they're playing on a back-to-back or whatever like that, but they clearly did not show up last night. And we're going to talk about the 76ers underperforming, including 2, in my opinion, the main pieces like Tobias Harris and Al Horford that they are paying basically $60,742,000 this year, right? But that's later on. Let's get into the 6-game slate, okay? So we got in the first game that starts at like 1:30. We got the New Orleans Pelicans playing the Sacramento Kings. Now, as of right now, the New Orleans Pelicans are out of the playoff picture. Matter of fact, they're sitting at 11th, right? But they're only 2 games out, along with the Spurs. Portland Trailblazers only a game out of that eighth spot. So things are hotly contested, right? Shout out to Terry Bogard, TH in the building, right? Pelicans need to win this game, right? Because the Sacramento Kings, look, they're 3 back, but look, they're not. I mean, technically they're not out, but let's just be honest, they're not going to go anywhere, especially with Luke Walton as their head coach, right? But the Pelicans need to win this game. Now, if they don't make the playoffs, you can go back to the first game against the Utah Jazz, right? Where they could have won it, they should have won it, but they didn't. And mainly because Alvin Gentry is an idiot for keeping Zion Williamson on the bench, right? Now, this is a game that the Pelicans need to win. This is a game that the Pelicans should win, right? But I got questions. Now, Zion Williamson did play 25 minutes in the last game. Are they going to continue to go to that, or are they going to continue to coddle this man? Are you going to give Zion Williamson the minutes? Because it's proven when you give him the minutes, the team wins. There's not to take anything away from Brandon Ingram. There's not to take anything away from Drew Holiday. But Zion is the difference maker here. Brandon Ingram's been phenomenal this season. Right? Some can make an argument that he is the comeback player of the year or the most improved player. That's what I want to say. Some can make an argument that he's the most improved player. Now, me personally, I think it's Bam. Or some people think it's Luka Doncic, right? But Brandon Ingram's in that discussion. He's been awesome. And, I think they got a nice little core or a nice dynamic duo of Zion and Brandon Ingram. Now, we talked about this months ago, right? Who was one of the first people to tell you about the dynamic between Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson? Me, this guy, I know you people watch my videos. Give me my credit. Shout out to the underrated darkness in the building, man. Salute, right? But this is a game I think the New Orleans Pelicans will win going away. On the other side, look, we all know about Fluke Walk, man. You know, this is nothing new when it comes to this guy. His rotations are horrible. They're horrendous. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's way in over his head. And I don't understand how did this guy get a job a day after he got let go. He's way over his head. And to be honest with you, right? Why is Harry Giles not playing minutes? You got a talented guy that can score the basketball sitting on the bench in Harry Giles. But does he play him? No. He wants to play Bielitsa. He wants to play Harrison Barnes minutes. Harrison Barnes is giving you nothing. You want to play all these other bums. We don't want to use the talent you got. You got Buddy Hield coming off the bench for whatever inexplicable reason. Right? Buddy Hield I think he has yet to play over 20 minutes in the game since the restart. Okay? So two of your most talented scorers is rotting away on the bench, and yet you're playing all these other bums. And that's why the Sacramento Kings will not go anywhere. That's why as long as Luke Walton is still their head coach, they will continue to struggle. And I have the New Orleans Pelicans winning this game going away 112 to 108. It's not going to be a blowout, but I do think the Pelicans win this game by at least 4 points. Now, if we're breaking this game down from a fantasy aspect, right? Like FanDuel, DraftKings, for those of you guys that like to play that, right? Of course, you're playing De'Aaron Fox, right? De'Aaron Fox, came off a really nice game, despite the fact that they, what was the result of their last game? I know they lost the last game, but their last game, they lost to the Mavericks in overtime, 114 to 110. De'Aaron Fox had a really good game that game, right? So in that game, let's look at it real quick. In that game, only 3 players were in double figures. De'Aaron Fox with 28 points, 3 rebounds, 9 assists. Buddy Hield did play 31 minutes that last game. He did play 31 minutes. And Buddy Hield had 21 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. And the only other person who was in double figures was Nemanja Bjelica, who only had 12 points, but he did have 13 rebounds and 1 assist. All right? Harry Giles only played 13 minutes, but yet you got guys like Corey Joseph played 42 minutes now. Corey Joseph played 42 minutes, 9 points, and 42 fucking minutes. You got Harrison Barnes playing 32 minutes, 6 points, and 32 minutes. Bogdan Bogdanovic played 21 minutes, 3 points. Rashawn Holmes played 25 minutes. He only had 8, but he had 12 rebounds. But this right here, I don't get it. Corey Joseph played 42 minutes and only scored 9 points. He did have 8 assists with 4 rebounds. That is god-awful. That kind of performance gets you put way down in the bench. Like, to the end of the bench. Why is Corey Joseph playing 42 minutes? Why is Harrison Barnes playing 32 minutes? Why is Kent Bazemore playing 24 minutes? You're giving bums all this run, and yet you got a guy, Harry Giles, who is a talented scorer, rotting away at the bench. And then when you do play him, you don't play him enough. Or you play him in mop-up duty. Luke Walton is a terrible head coach, man. His rotations is awful. He doesn't look. I just broken down why this guy is not it in Sacramento. If you're a Sacramento organizational personnel and you're watching this video, I'm warning you right now. Luke Walton is not the answer. Okay? Period. This is disgusting. Why does Harrison Barnes continue to get minutes? He is proven to you he is not it. Those minutes need to go to Harry Giles. Right? Buddy Hield needs to be put back in the starting lineup. Now, for Harry Giles, he got to stay healthy because, for some reason or another, he just couldn't stay healthy during the course of the season. But Harry Giles needs to play. He's talented. But for fantasy, let's get to the fantasy aspect of it. So you're playing De'Aaron Fox, and you might take a tournament shot on Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield is a tournament-only option. Okay? He's only tournament. Because he has a low floor, but he has a pretty decent ceiling. If he goes off, he'll get you up the leaderboards in the tournament. But he is not cash games. When we're talking cash games, we're talking 50-50s, head-to-heads, double-ups. Those are cash games. Multipliers, those are cash games, right? So you don't want to play Luke Walton in those type of formats. He's strictly tournament. Harry Giles, strictly tournament, because you don't know what kind of minutes Harry Giles gets. If he gets minutes, he produces. If he don't get minutes, he'll produce somewhat, but not in the capacity if he were to get 30 minutes. So those guys are strictly tournament options. De'Aaron Fox, you can play him in all formats. He's a good play today, right? This game probably will be high scoring, right? Even though I did say 112, 108, but that game could go just as high as, 120 to 116 or 124 to 118 or something like that, right? We go to the Pelicans side, right? For fantasy-wise, like Lonzo Ball, he has a high floor but a low ceiling. So Lonzo Ball will probably be cash game option, right? Because he does rebound the ball. He does provide assists. His scoring though is volatile. If he can get his scoring up, he does have a high ceiling. But let me back up. His assists and his rebounding will give him that high floor. But for him to get a high ceiling, he needs to score the basketball. So is Lonzo Ball a triple-double threat? One can make a case as it is, but one scenario is more likely is that Lonzo Ball will go out there and stink up the joint. So here's the question. Which Lonzo Ball will show up today? Because he has struggled mightily since this restart. What's up, Eric Ocasio? He struggled really badly, right? To the point where now we already called this guy a bust. I've been calling this guy a bust for, pretty much a year now, and all I got is, oh, you're a hater, and you don't know what you're talking about, and all those other fucking hollow talking points that I receive from, mindless numbskulls or people whose brain shells is just as hollow as an empty fortune cookie. What up, Eric Ocasio? What's going on with you, man? So Lonzo Ball, he's in play. Zion definitely in play. All right, Brandon Ingram, Drew Holiday, the usual suspects, right? JJ Redick, he might get some threes on, but JJ Redick value is tied to scoring the basketball because he don't do anything outside of rebound. He don't do anything outside of scoring the basketball. So if he doesn't score, he's practically worthless. And there you go. That's pretty much my breakdown for that particular game. We got 5 other games to go, and all these games will be on TNT today, right? We got 2 4 o'clock games, a 6:30 game, an 8 o'clock game, and a 9 o'clock game. So let's start with the 4 o'clock game between the Heat and Bucks. Now, the Bucks are on a 2-game losing streak right now. They need to get off the schneid. Miami, they just came off their game against the Boston Celtics. The injury right now is Jimmy Butler will not play today, and Goran Dragic is questionable for the Heat, right? Now, the Jimmy Butler news is big, but it gets even bigger if Goran Dragic doesn't play. Because now we're talking about, what's up, Unique Dawn? Shout out to the Queen Unique Dawn in the building. Virtual hug. What up, John Howard? Appreciate you, man. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to John Howard in the chat room. Now, the rotations get even less cloudy if Goran Dragic sits. So now we're talking open up minutes for Kendrick Nunn and Tyler Hero in the backcourt, right? Duncan Robinson also will get minutes. We also know about Bam Adebayo. Bam will get some more usage out of that. But a guy that has been playing great, though, has been Kelly Olynyk. Now, I don't know what's been going on with Kelly Olynyk, the way he's out there playing these great games or whatever like that. But, Kelly Olynyk has been the spark that Miami Heat needed. So, appreciate you. I appreciate it. So, we got to see how the Miami Heat plays this out. Now, in the East, the Miami Heat sits currently. I think they sit like. Let me see. Let me pull up the standings again. Miami Heat currently sit 4th in the Eastern Conference. They're 2 games behind the Celtics for that 3rd spot. And I think they, let me see, their last game, Miami Heat last game. Let me see. Try to pull all this stuff up. So, their last game, they beat the Boston Celtics 112-106. And in that game, well, Kelly Olynyk, he will play well against his old team, Bam Adebayo had double-double, 21 and 12. Duncan Robinson had 21 points off the bench. Goran Dragic had 28 points off the bench, right? Derek Jones Jr., he's another guy that's going to probably see some run if what's his face? Goran Dragic is out. What's up, Mr. Big Jess? Donald Woods. We're gonna talk about that here in a bit. We're gonna talk about that. Just hold on. So the Miami Heat, and they were the only team that beat the Milwaukee Bucks twice this season. So with that, you gotta like them against the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks right now, for whatever inexplicable reason, they're just not playing good basketball right now. They dropped the game they should have won to the Houston Rockets. No thanks to some late gaffes by Giannis Antetokounmpo, right? So they lost the game they should have won to the Houston Rockets, and then they lost another game they definitely should have won against the fucking Brooklyn Nets. So the Milwaukee Bucks in the tailspin right now. This is a big game for them to get off the schneid and this could be a highly contested game. So I actually got the Milwaukee Bucks getting off the schneid today because they know they need to get their act together if they want to beat the serious playoff threat right now. So with that being said, let's move on. Oh, no, we move on to the next game, man. We got to do the fantasy aspect of it, right? So no Jimmy Butler, right? So who benefits from Jimmy Butler being out? And whenever I do my fantasy basketball research, I rely on Fantasy Labs. That's what I use personally. But you do what you do, right? There's also a website called popcornmachine.net if you want to look at player rotations and all that. So looking at this game right here, and I'm gonna pull this up for y'all real quick. I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. Now, so what you see here is the website I was talking about, popcornmachine.net. So basically what you see here are the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat, right? And what you see is the minutes distribution. That's what the bar is, right? So you see when the player comes out, player comes in, things like that, right? And you see their production. So whatever peripheral stat they put up in points and shit. All right. So we saw Kendrick Nunn played 30 minutes. We see that Bam Adebayo played 32 minutes. Kelly Olynyk played close to 30 minutes. Duncan Robinson played 28 minutes. Derrick Jones Jr. played 20 minutes, right? And Goran Dragic played 28 minutes. Andre Iguodala played 30 minutes. And Tyler Hero played 21 minutes. So if Goran Dragic is out, those minutes got to go somewhere. So to me, those minutes will probably get. You're probably going to look at Derrick Jones Jr. Or Kendrick Nunn getting the bulk of those minutes if Goran Dragic is out. Now, if Goran Dragic plays, then let's just be honest. We're not going to see a whole difference in rotations or whatever like that, right? Now, for the Milwaukee side, you got to play Giannis. Giannis, he's going to play. He's going to get the minutes in this matchup right here against the Miami Heat, right? Giannis, he's a must play every night. Chris Middleton need to have a game, right? He needs to play better. Let's just be honest, right? Chris Middleton just, he just not been that good. Shout out to my brother Mark Wonderlick in the building, all right? And then the rest of the cast of characters in the Milwaukee Bucks. Brook Lopez didn't play in the last game. He's more likely going to play in this one. George Hill, guys like that just need to step up, man. And so the Milwaukee Bucks, I expect them to get off the schneid today. I know people like, oh, but the Miami Heat already beat them twice. Look, man, when we talking sports, man, you can't look at things from a linear perspective. Just because something happened historically doesn't mean it's going to happen in the future. All right. So we all need to get outside that linear mentality that, just because they beat them these last two games, they're going to beat them this game. It don't work like that. Anybody that plays sports know that there's a level of variance, there's volatility, and there's regression or progression, right? So that's my thoughts on the Miami Heat and the Milwaukee Bucks. The next game, which starts at 4 o'clock as well, a very entertaining game between the Pacers and Suns. So the Suns, needless to say, has been the hottest team in this bubble. They have yet to lose a game. The Phoenix Suns have yet to lose a game in the bubble. Yeah, I said it. So for the Phoenix side, Kelly Oubre has been upgraded to doubtful. That would mean much. He's still not playing, right? Okafor out as well versus the Pacers, right? Now we're looking at a game like this. This is the TJ Warren revenge game, because if you didn't know, or you might have forgotten, TJ Warren played basketball for the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns traded him to the Indiana Pacers in the offseason. So you got to think TJ Warren is going to want to stick it to his former team, right? So right now, as far as see, Pacers are -3. Hold on, let me get my stuff together. Oh, I forgot to do this. So going back to the Pelicans game, right? The Pelicans are a 4-point favorite, right? 233.5 total for that game. For the Milwaukee Bucks and Miami Heat, there's no total yet because of the news regarding Jimmy Butler. For the Phoenix and Pacers game, the Pacers are currently a 2.5-point favorite and a total of 229.5 over under. Right? Now, Devin Booker has been phenomenal, just as TJ Warren was, right? TJ Warren is averaging 39.7 points, 5.7 rebounds, and 3.3 assists on 65% shooting. Now, this is the thing, right? One of those games, TJ Warren dropped the 50 burger, all right? He dropped the 50 burger on the Sixers, right? So, and like I said before, TJ Warren is going to want to stick it to his former team. That being said, I don't, with Victor Oladipo coming back and what's the other guy's name? Malcolm Brogdon coming back as well. I don't see how TJ Warren, goes out there and kills it. Now he does stuff the stat sheet. He will get rebounds. He will get steals. But for fantasy purposes, is this the game where I jump off the TJ Warren bandwagon? I don't know. I might have some shares of him, but I don't know if I'll go all in on TJ Warren because Oladipo will be back for this game. I know he got a question about his knee and whatnot, but he's going to play. And Malcolm Brogdon is going to play as well, barring any setbacks. So they will be at full strength for this game. Phoenix Suns, like I said, Devin Booker has been murdered lately. I mean, he's been straight up murder. And hit that cold-blooded J at the end of the game against the Clippers, which allowed them to beat the Los Angeles Clippers, man. And, outside of Cameron Payne, the rest of the individuals like Sarge, Rubio, Devin Booker, who had 35 points with 4 rebounds and 8 assists. DeAndre Ayton had 19.7 rebounds, 4 assists. I mean, it's somewhat of a decent game for DeAndre Ayton considering that he played awful against the Mavericks. Mikal Bridges, he plays a lot of minutes, does a whole lot of nothing, right? But he did have 9.6 rebounds, 2 assists. Cam Johnson I meant to say Cameron Payne. Cameron Payne only saw 20 minutes, but Cam Johnson played 38 minutes. He only had 8.7 rebounds, 2 assists. Right? So, for fantasy purposes, right, in a game like this, I'm playing DeAndre Ayton, Devin Booker, obviously. Ricky Rubio might have a hard time with the defense of Malcolm Brogdon, and I'm not touching these other guys. Right, I'm not messing with those other guys or whatever like that. For the Indiana side, Indiana, they just came off their game. This is like their third game in 4 nights because they played the Wizards the other day. Matter of fact, they played the Wizards on Monday, and then they turned around and played the Pacers on Tuesday. They won both those games. Right? Now, since the restart, the Pacers have not lost a game as well. They beat, like I said, they beat the 76ers, Wizards, and Magic. Right? Nate McMillan, another guy who I think that should be in the Coach of the Year discussion or whatever like that. I'm pretty sure they already voted for Coach of the Year, but Nate McMillan definitely should have been in that discussion. So, for the Pacers, TJ Warren, he played 38 minutes, had 32 points. Aaron Holiday played 34 minutes with 12 points. Miles Turner had 21 points in 35 minutes. Malcolm Brogdon had 12 points in 33 minutes. He did have 8 assists. Oladipo had played 27 minutes, had 13 points with 5 rebounds and 2 assists. Justin Holiday, Justin Holiday with Oladipo and Brogdon coming back, his minutes get cut. TJ McConnell, he always played 20 minutes no matter what the situation is. All right. Iman Sumner with Oladipo and Brogdon back, his minutes get significantly cut. So this is a team, man. This is, I had my reservations about this team. I thought this was going to be a dark horse team in the Eastern Conference. With everybody back, Oladipo's still not himself yet. So I really can't go that route right now as far as them being a dark horse in the Eastern Conference. But this will be an interesting team to watch come playoff time, depending on the matchup in the first round. All right? Now, as far as who wins this game, I actually see the Indiana Pacers winning this game. I got the Indiana Pacers winning this game. Now, I could be wrong. I will not be surprised if Phoenix pulls out another win because they are desperately fighting for the playoffs. That's the difference between – and you know what? I changed my pick. I got Phoenix winning this game for the simple fact that Indiana is firmly entrenched in the playoffs, right? They're the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference. Phoenix, on the other hand, is desperate. They're on the outside looking in. And in the standings right now, the Phoenix Suns sit, I think they sit like 10th. No, I think they sit 12th. And they are 2.5 games outside the 8th spot. The Phoenix Suns are 2.5 games outside of 8th place. So they're very much in it. And they're definitely fighting to get in the playoffs. And for that reason, I got the Phoenix Suns winning another game today. I got them winning it. Monty Williams got this team playing ball. They got this team going in the right direction. So I got the Phoenix Suns beating the Indiana Pacers probably like 120 to 110. Devin Booker will have another good game. DeAndre Ayton will have a sensational game. Because, look, for as good as Indiana was for this regular season, the one area I believe they're not good at is rebounding the ball. And I think that Miles Turner has never been a great rebounder. And I think that's going. And then they ain't got Sabonis because Sabonis is out with a foot injury, so that's going to open up a lot of opportunities for DeAndre Ayton. Now, if there's one player I might go all in on today, is that guy, DeAndre Ayton. That's right. So I got the Phoenix Suns winning this game going away. Next game. All right, next game, I believe, is the Los Angeles Clippers against the Dallas Mavericks. Now, this game is at 6:30. I expect the Clippers to win this game going away. I think they're going to win this game by double digits. Now, as far as Vegas odds, 228.5 total. Clippers are 4.5-point favorite. Actually, that's dropped to 3.5 now. It's dropped to 3.5-point favorite, right? And the Clippers have owned the Mavericks twice this season. Luka has historically struggled against the Clippers or whatever, right? Yeah, I think he had a good game against the Clippers the first game of, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on, let me pull it up. Because Clippers Mavs. Now I don't want to make the because remember what I said earlier. I mean, yeah, we look at historical data, but you don't want to take that and make a linear assessment. So just because Luka has struggled against the Clippers historically, I'm not going to say that he's going to struggle today, right? But he will be. And a Sports Illustrated article that dropped where Kawhi Leonard talks about Luka Doncic, right? Kawhi on the MVP candidate Luka, he's the head of the snake. So this article came out about 20 hours ago. So from the Clippers aspect, they're going to focus their attention on Luka Doncic. They're going to try to make this guy's life miserable today, right? And they're going to force guys like Trey Burke, DFS, Dorian Finney-Smith, Tim Hardaway Jr., and even Kristaps Porzingis, right? They're going to have those guys come in and try to beat them or whatever like that. And the Clippers just came off an embarrassing loss against the Phoenix Suns. So they're going to look to get that bad taste out of their mouth, right? So, but I do got the Clippers winning this game by double digits, right? For the simple fact that, one, the Dallas Mavericks, they can't hold leads, right? They can't hold leads. They'll get out to a big lead and then they'll just forget how to play defense, right? And then Rick Carlisle refuses to play Boban. For whatever inexplicable reason, he refuses to play Boban Marjanovic. Because there's one problem the Clippers do have without Montrezl Harrell, and all prayers go out to Montrezl Harrell. Hope and pray for your safe and safe journey back to the bubble. If you don't come back to the bubble for whatever reason, all prayers go out to you and for your safety and your comfort and your and you'll travel to wherever endeavor you got going on. So keep Montrezl Harrell in your prayers, man. Straight up. What up, True to King TV? Right? But I do see the Clippers winning this game going away because Dallas, I mean, they're a good team, but until they get better defensively, until Rick Carlisle stop making these coaching gaffes, this team's not going to go anywhere. And this is probably a potential first round matchup between the Clippers and the Mavericks. So this is a game that you need to watch. I think Ticket might cover this game tonight. I'm not sure. But I will see this as a game that Ticket will probably cover. Next game. Oh yeah, fantasy aspects. I keep forgetting about the fantasy. Shout out to Kenyon Perry in the chat room, man. What's going on with you, man? Appreciate you. Right? Want to donate? That's my Cash App. That's my PayPal. We want to donate to the channel. You know what I'm saying? For fantasy aspect, Kawhi Leonard had a subpar game last game. I expect him to bounce back. Same thing with Paul George. I expect Paul George to come out there with guns blazing today. This team plays no defense. They don't play any defense. So you got to look at them. And then you got Reggie Jackson coming off the bench. And, maybe you take a tournament flyer on Patrick Beverley. But outside of that, I don't see myself playing Marcus Morris. I don't see myself playing who else? Zubac. Zubac might get in foul trouble in this game. So to me, the only people I might consider playing is Reggie Jackson, Kawhi Leonard, and Paul George. Right? Then on the Mavericks side, Luka, he's going to be in a tough matchup. But look, superstars can go off on anybody any given night. We've seen this with Devin Booker. Devin Booker, just dropped 35 on the Clippers despite the defense of Kawhi and Paul George. So I think with that, even though he's going to be in a tough matchup, you still gotta play Luka Doncic, man. Luka Doncic is a fucking beast. You might take a flyer on Kristaps Porzingis as well, but I think he's overpriced for this matchup. I think he's still like 9,700 on FanDuel or whatever like that. So I'm not touching Kristaps Porzingis. And really, to be honest with you, anyone on the Mavericks outside of Luka, I mean, you might take a flyer on Trey Burke, you might take a flyer on Tim Hardaway Jr., but I really don't want to play anybody else. And let's just be honest, right? But I do got the Clippers winning this game. Next, we got the Trailblazers and Nuggets. Now, this game, I believe, will be high scoring. I believe this will be a high-scoring game today between the Nuggets and Blazers. What's up, you Soup Knight? What's going on with you, man? Salute. We all know about the 7-game series last year, which was a classic, right? But there's some differences here in this one between the playoffs last year and this game right here tonight. They had no Nurkic. Now, Nurkic will want to play well against his former team, right? Against the Denver Nuggets. Because Nurkic played his ball with the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets traded him to the Portland Trailblazers, right? So, when you see that he sees the Denver Nuggets on the schedule, he's going to show up and show out, right? The reason why there's no total in this game right now, because we're waiting on the news of Jamal Murray. Now, Jamal Murray hadn't played the past few games because of hamstring issues, right? So Jamal Murray has not Jamal Murray has not played since the restart. And that's why there's no Vegas total out right now for Jamal Murray. Oh, hold on. It just came out. So Portland is a 3-point favorite over the Denver Nuggets. Total of 231.5. If I'm sports betting, I'm taking the Nuggets at +3. If I'm doing any kind of sports betting, I'm taking the Nuggets at +3, right? Look, Portland plays no, but let us be honest, right? Who has really played defense in this bubble? Who has really played defense in this bubble? So that's why these scores are so freaking high. Michael Porter Jr. has been outstanding these last 2 games. He's been great. You know, he was the only Nuggets rookie to score 30 points in consecutive games. Of all the fucking great Nuggets players they had, whether it be Fat Lever, Alice English, Dan Issel, right? Those guys, he's the only person to score 30 points in consecutive games as a rookie. This man, I tell you, man, Michael Porter Jr., man, he is phenomenal. But it goes back to a couple things. One, if his jump shot is falling, he will hustle to the ends of the earth. He's getting rebounds, he's getting assists. But if his shot's off, he's playing extra hard on defense. But if his shot's not falling, then you know the dude just go completely off the rails, right? And I think Mike Malone gotta let him play through his struggles. You can't just yank the guy as soon as he makes a mistake. And that's what infuriates me about Mike Malone. Michael Porter Jr. is a fucking beast, man. Yeah, I already knew, but he had the bad back when he was in Missouri or whatever like that, Mr. Big Chest. I knew all that. He is that dude. It's just now that the mainstream media just not catching on to this guy. But look, Michael Porter Jr., if he can stay healthy, this dude is going to be a stud. And if I'm the Denver Nuggets, you don't trade this dude under no circumstances. You're the Denver Nuggets. You got a good situation where you got Bol and Michael Porter Jr. Because Bol can ball. He's the son of the late Manu Bol, right? Manu Bol back in the day was 7'7", playing for the Golden State Warriors, right? All these guys were shooting threes. No, they were shooting threes back in the day. Ask Manu Bol. This motherfucker was 7'7" shooting threes, right? Shout out to Brandon Nicholson in the chat room. Back in the day, he was the rare person of his kind. But they got a good situation in Denver. Look, under no circumstances you trade Michael Porter Jr. None. I don't give a fuck who want him. He is the priority. He's the future of your team. Right? If anything, you get rid of guys like Gary Harris and Paul Millsap and what's his face? Jeremiah Grant. You trade those guys before you trade Michael Porter Jr. So I'm taking Denver at +3. I think Denver wins this game, to be honest with you. I think Denver beats the Portland Trailblazers tonight. I really do think so. Right? But anywho, Damien Lillard, you know Damien Lillard's going to want to play. Is going to want to play well against the Nuggets. Now he has historically struggled, but I think he would want to come out and play tonight. He had a mediocre game against the Rockets. To be honest with you, man, he had somewhat of a mediocre game, and same thing with C.J. McCollum, if I'm not mistaken. I know I watched that game, but the person that really came on was Carmelo Anthony. Now, I like playing members against their former teams. Carmelo Anthony was drafted by the Denver Nuggets. And, yeah, man. So, in that game, 36 minutes, Carmelo Anthony played, had 15 points, 11 rebounds. Nurkic played 29 minutes, had 18 points, 19 rebounds. But I think the only reason he played 29 minutes in that game because he was in foul trouble. Damien Lillard had 21 points in 40 minutes. Not good. CJ McCollum played 40 minutes, only had 20 points. Gary Trent Jr. played 35 minutes, had 16 points off the bench. Shout out to Marco Hinton and T. Jordan in the building. Appreciate y'all, man. You know what I'm saying? You'll donate. Hit me on the Cash App and the PayPal, man. You know what I'm saying? Show your boys some love, man. Anyway, let's continue on with this game, right? I believe this is going to be a high-scoring game. I really do believe that. No Will Barton, probably no Jamal Murray, and no Gary Harris, right? So let's go back to the popcorn machine and look at Denver rotations. Now you got to take this with a pinch of salt because Mike Malone does like to experiment. I don't have the game flow for August 5th yet. But let's look at the game flow from when they played OKC. Right? Let's go here. Right. So looking at the game flow. We see the starters were Paul Millsap, Torrey Craig, Monty Morris, Joker, and Michael Porter Jr. Right? Now, this is a game when they went to overtime. And all the starters, with the exception of Paul Millsap, played in that overtime game. I take that back. All the starters, with the exception of Torrey Craig, played in that overtime game. Right? So we see Michael Porter Jr., being the fucking beast. Joker being the fucking beast. Monty Morris, he was all right. He played a lot of minutes. Only scored 17 points. Torrey Craig played close to 25 minutes, did absolutely nothing. Paul Millsap played 34 minutes, had 17 points. But you see, Bull Bolden didn't. He played a little bit, but not a whole lot. Daniels played a little bit, not a whole lot. PJ Dozier played a little bit, not a whole lot. Mason Plumlee does get 20 minutes, right? So if I'm looking at this from a fantasy aspect, right, I'm playing Joker, Michael Porter Jr., and probably you take a flyer on Jeremiah Grant and Paul Millsap. But outside of that, you ain't really touching too many pieces out of Denver for fantasy wise, right? Then we go to Portland. Right? Let's go to this game. So this is a game when they played the Houston Rockets, right? You see the starters: Nurkic, Lillard, CJ McCollum, Melo, Zach Collins, right? Hassan Whiteside, when Nurkic coming back, he's been relegated to bench role. He's practically unplayable, right? Anthony Simons, with you only play him if Damien Lillard and CJ McCollum are out. So either one of those guys are out, that's when you look at it, Anthony Simons. But he's not getting run like that, right? Gary Trent Jr. is a guy. Their rotation is pretty tight with Nurkic, Lillard, McCollum, Carmelo, and Zach Collins, and Gary Trent Jr. So Portland's rotations is pretty tight right now. Provided they in foul trouble or an injury, you can expect Damien Lillard and CJ McCollum to play at least 40 minutes. They ain't coming off the court. Their rotation is pretty tight. Their rotation is pretty set. So that's the one thing I like about, that bum Terry Stotts. You already know who's going to play, right? And for that, you got to look at CJ McCollum and Damien Lillard in all formats. Melo's a tournament-only play. You don't play him in cash games. He's a tournament-only play. Gary Trent Jr., tournament-only, right? Zach Collins, he gives you next to nothing offensively, so he's tournament-only. Nurkic is in play in all formats. Nurkic, I expect him to come out here and have a really good game against his former team. He really shows up against his former team. It's like he had a bad taste in his mouth when the Denver Nuggets traded him. And he did. But I still got so I got the Denver Nuggets winning this game. Right? Portland, like Phoenix, is in the fight to get that 8th spot. Memphis has really struggled ever since this restart. They have struggled. I don't even think they won a game yet in this bubble since the restart. And with that, you got a dogfight in the Western Conference right now for that 8th spot. So Grizzlies sitting in 8th. I take that back. Hold on. So the Grizzlies lost to the Trailblazers in overtime. They lost to the Spurs. They lose to the Pelicans, and then they turn around and lose to the Jazz. They have not won a game since the restart. And with that, that's why you got this dogfight for the 8th seed right now. Portland 1 game back of the 8th spot. They're 1 game back. You're only a game back. The Spurs are 2 back. Pelicans are 2 back. Suns are 2.5 back. The Kings are 3 back. So there's a lot of basketball to be played. Portland, they're desperate. They're desperate to get their 8th seed. Now, I picked them to come out to get their 8th seed, but look, man, it's gonna be something, man, for these last few games, right? But I do got the Denver Nuggets winning this game. But just know Portland's only 1 game back of that 8th spot. And remember, in these these seeding games, you only got to be, the 9th seed only has to be within 4 games, right? And it looks like Portland and barring anything crazy happens, looks like it'll be Portland and Memphis for that 8th spot. Now, let's go to the main event of the evening, which we have the Houston Rockets playing the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, the Lakers looked like complete garbage last night against the OKC Thunder. I guess, they didn't come off that emotional high of clinching the number 1 seed in the West. But this is my thing, right? When have the Los Angeles Lakers ever celebrated being number 1 in the West? Like, when has that ever been an accomplishment, right? All the great Lakers teams, whether it be, we're talking back in the 60s, right? When they were losing NBA finals left and right. We come to the Showtime 80s, the 80s, the Showtime Lakers, whatever like that. They was pretty much a perennial NBA Finals team every year, winning championships and things like that. When have we ever celebrated being number one in the fucking West in the regular season? We've never celebrated that. It's like these guys got comfortable. And it showed last night on the court. Them motherfuckers got comfortable. Frank Vogel, this is on you. You, sir, are a horrible head coach. Because you did not get this team ready to play last night. I don't give a fuck that we ain't got nothing else to play for. You don't come out there and look like that. You're sending the wrong message. You're sending the team the message that they can just turn it on and off like some kind of light switch. It don't work like that. Because how many times we said over and over and over and over again, when you go into these playoffs, you got to have momentum. And it's not always the best team. It's the team that plays the best wins these games and wins these series. And yet, they came out there looking uninspired, unmotivated, and flat. So they got the Houston Rockets tonight. They got to deal with the dynamic duo of Russell Westbrook and James Harden. Right? And as soon as I talk about the Lakers, look who surfaced from the fucking sewer. Shout out to Myron Jones in the building. And T. Jordan, I disagree with that because how many times we seen coaches of the year get fired? How many times we seen teams, that finished like you had who was LeBron's coach in Cleveland? What was that guy's name? What the fuck was that guy's name, man? David Blatt. Yeah, you had David Blatt. David Blatt was number one in the Eastern Conference, had the best record in the NBA. He still got fired. So you can't use that as an excuse to justify not firing Frank Vogel, considering we've had Dwayne Casey. He was a coach of the year. He got fired. You had fucking Rick Carlisle back in the day, because Joe Dumars, I believe, started that trend where, despite the fact Rick Carlisle was taking the Pistons to the Eastern Conference Finals every year, he still got fired. So you can't. Now, I could be wrong in that assessment, right? But just because you take a team to the playoffs, and just because you had Lionel Hollins. Lionel Hollins was taking the Memphis Grizzlies to the Western Conference Finals, and he got fired. So, I mean, you can't really use that. Right? They've shown that you can get fired no matter what you did. You can take a team to the NBA Finals, win the championship. If you have a bad relationship with the front office, they'll fire you, bring in somebody else. Look what Mark Jackson brought the fucking Golden State Warriors out of obscurity into prosperity, and just when he was about to take this team to the championship, they fire him and bring in Steve Kerr. Now, look, this is an easy game to break down, right? This is an easy game to break down, considering we have two teams with contrasting styles, right? The Lakers are 2.5-point favorite as we speak. I'm telling you right now, I'm taking the Rockets at 2.5. Look, I'm going to find me a sports betting website, and I'm taking the Rockets at 2.5. You know what I'm saying? Get the fuck out of here, Myron Jones. He ain't no goddamn goon. Jared Dudley a goon? He's a goonie. He's a goony goober off of SpongeBob. If there's any association with goons and Jared Dudley, is that. He's a fucking goony goober. Anyway, like I said, this is an easy game to break down because we got two teams with contrasting styles. You got the Rockets, who will spread you out and shoot threes all day, and you got the Lakers, who have, one of the best big man in basketball, and Anthony Davis, right? So they have a big team. The Rockets has a small team. So which style will impose their will on the other, right? Will it be the Rockets in their small ball lineups shooting threes all night, or will it be the Lakers abusing them down low? And if I'm Frank Vogel, right, learn from the sins of your fellow head coaching contemporaries. Learn from the sins of your fellow head coaching contemporaries. You know the Rockets are small. You pound their ass in the post. Okay? Period. You know what they want to do. They want to drive. They want to collapse the defense, kick out for the open three. That's what James Harden does outside the step back, and that's what Russell Westbrook would do, right? They will. You see it. They will drive. They will force the defense to collapse. They'll kick it out to Daniel House. They'll kick it out to PJ Tucker on the left baseline, because that's where he likes to shoot his three. PJ Tucker on the left baseline, right? So you got Tucker, you got Robert Covington, you got Daniel House, and you got Ben McLemore. So you have those 3-point shooters out there on the wings with Russell or James Harden driving. And that's the whole game throughout the whole time. Right? Because if you don't collapse, they get an easy bucket. Or they get fouled. Or a 3-point play. If you do collapse, then they kick out to Daniel House, Covington, Ben McLemore, PJ Tucker, and then they have a wide open three. Then on the defensive end, right, they can call themselves trying to pack the paint. Look, I don't give a fuck how good Robert Covington is on defense. I don't give a fuck how good PJ Tucker is on defense. Neither one of them is the answer for Anthony Davis. Now, I will tell you, the Houston Rockets will try to double team Anthony Davis. They will try to, right? But he's so much bigger, he's so much taller than them, he can get the shot over them, right? Rebounding. We all know rebounding is going to be a thing. Dwight Howard is questionable with a knee injury. He did not play last night. He's questionable for the night. He's questionable for the night. So I can see a situation where Dwight Howard plays this game. Dwight Howard will want to play this game against his former team. Dwight Howard is, I believe, if he plays, he's going to have a monster game tonight. If there's one person who I think will have a good game tonight is Dwight Howard, because they have no answers down low. He can get all the rebounds, get all the stickbacks. He's strong enough to withstand the contact of Robert Covington and PJ Tucker. Even JaVale McGee. Even though JaVale McGee's not as strong as Dwight Howard and or whatever like that, he still can get buckets on in the post, right? Because whenever LeBron drives, right, if LeBron plays tonight, and I do expect him to play tonight, whenever LeBron drives, it can be the same thing. They're going to collapse on LeBron. LeBron he can throw up the alley to AD, he can throw up the alley to Dwight Howard or JaVale McGee. So this is going to be a high-scoring game tonight, but I'm telling you right now, I'm taking the Rockets at plus 2.5. The lines open up at plus 2.5, but and I'm going to bet on the Rockets. I believe the Rockets. You know, now who wins this game? Who wins this game? Ain't nobody worrying about that. Who wins this game tonight, y'all? That's gonna be a tough one, but I think the Rockets win this game tonight, much as it pains me to say it. I think the Rockets win this game tonight. For the simple fact that they just don't have anybody to contain the dynamic Russell Westbrook and James Harden, right? And they got a supporting cast that can score the basketball. Daniel House can score. He's proven that he can shoot the basketball with confidence. Robert Covington, he's a scrapper. Look, they have no answer for AD down low. They have absolutely no answer for AD down low. But I think the Rockets have more firepower than the Lakers, and that for that reason, I think the Rockets win this game. Now I'm opening up the chat lines. Let you guys come in here and do y'all dizzle. Oh, we're gonna talk about that. We'll talk about James Harden and his inability to come up big in the playoffs. All right, Mr. Big Chest, what you got?
Well, man, with this Lakers game, honestly, in my opinion, Lakers should win this, but they're gonna mess around. They're gonna just mess around and get embarrassed. In my opinion, it's just I don't trust Frank Vogel to make good decisions. Russell Westbrook and James Harden, they're gonna be walking by Deion Waiters and Alex Caruso and all them because the Lakers they can't defend. And then again, they too stupid enough to keep fighting in the post. They got AD, they got LeBron, they got Dwight. They can just be banging on people, but LeBron's he's gonna be trying to get too saucy. He's gonna try to take that step back three, and AD is gonna be softer than Cottonelle and everything. All I'm saying is he better not have a triple single like he did last night.
You think so?
Yeah, man, that's what I think, man. With this, it's just the Lakers right now. They look mired, man. They look disgusting on defense. It's not just bad; it's disgusting. Defensive lapses. You literally let a dude yesterday. I don't even know his name. I've never heard of the dude, but he literally just walked to the paint. Like he wasn't even doing any moves. He just walked to the paint, and it's just disgusting.
Yeah, it wasn't very good.
Yeah,
it wasn't very good either. It wasn't very good at all. I watched that game with disgust.
Man, oh my God, man. Thank goodness I didn't bet on that game. That's one game I didn't bet on. But and as for the other games, Bucks and Heat, I got the Bucks mainly because Jimmy Butler's not playing. So Chris Middleton, you should have a game because he ain't got to worry. Chris Middleton ain't got to worry about Jimmy Butler putting him on Alcatraz and locking him up for 24-hour solitary confinement. So Chris Middleton should have a game. Kind of need Brook Lopez to show up, take some pressure off of Giannis. And also, I don't know if I don't know if Eric Bledsoe's playing, but if he is, he got to show up. The bench has to show up because Miami is deep. They do have depth on their team, so the Milwaukee Bucks bench has to show up. You just can't have Giannis go out and y'all just don't know what to do. George Hill, you can't be turning the ball over and making offensive and defensive lapses. But I got the Bucks. I think they're gonna win by 6 or 7 today. I do think Miami will keep it close because they got that gritty and that grimy nature, that grimy play. They play tough every night. But I got the Bucks in that one.
Right.
And then I forgot the other game. You said who does the Portland play? Do they play the Nuggets today?
Yeah.
Okay, Portland versus the Nuggets. I got the Nuggets in a thriller. I think it's gonna go to overtime. It's still gonna be like the last year in the semifinals. I got the Nuggets winning in overtime. I think Dame's gonna have a much better game than he did the other day. So is CJ. I think Melo's gonna have 20 plus points. Gary Trent's gonna have probably about 10, 15 off the bench. Nurkic is gonna do well, but I think this is the game where the Mike Malone's going to use more of his big man lineup, where he has Jokic at the point guard, he has Plumlee, that other dude, and Bol in there. So I think he's going to use that, try to experiment some, and that man Michael Porter Jr. I think I think he's gonna have another big game tonight. I don't know if he'll drop 30, but I think he's gonna have a good game with significant input. But I got the Nuggets and a thriller in that one. And then like the game that I'm gonna watch in about a couple hours, Pelicans and Kings. I got the Pelicans. I got the Pelicans winning that mainly because of Zion and Ingram. Um, I kind of I feel like I need Lonzo Ball to show up. Honestly, Lonzo Ball, he usually has good games against the Kings. He averages 17 points, 9 rebounds, and 10 assists against the Kings so far in his career. So I expect him to continue that trend. But I got the Pelicans running away with that game.
All right.
All right. Am I missing one? Is there another game I'm missing?
So you got Indiana and Phoenix?
Yeah, thank you for reminding me, man. Indiana and Phoenix. Man, that's a tough one. I'm gonna have to go with Phoenix because they're gonna play a lot more desperate. They're tied with the Pelicans, 2 games behind the 8 seed. So, or 2.5. Well, yeah, no, they're 3 games, but yeah, I don't know if they're tied with the Pelicans. They're right behind them, but they're fighting for that. They're fighting for their playoff mortality, fighting to get to that play-in tournament. Devin Booker coming off a game winner, I think that boosted their confidence. As much as I like TJ Warren, as much as I like Oladipo and Brogdon, and I like the Pacers, I feel like the Phoenix Suns are going to play with that extra grit, that extra determination that's going to pull them over the top. I think that game will be close. Even though Indiana by far has the better squad, I feel like Phoenix is just going to toughen out more and get a tough one in the end.
I agree. And we got the Lakers and Rockets.
Well, like I said, with that, I got the Rockets with it. It's not that it's not that I don't think the Lakers can win. I just don't think they can just use their size advantage. I don't think they're going to use their size advantage because they want to be so flashy. And like that's my problem with the Lakers. They get too showboaty, and when they get their butts kicked and when they get embarrassed like they did last night, it's you don't know how they're going to respond. I don't think they've been embarrassed this badly the whole season. I know they had double-digit losses. I know they lost the other night by 17, but I don't think they've been like embarrassed like this where they shoot like 35% from the field. AD has a really bad game. He hasn't had a game like that since his rookie year. But it's just the Lakers have a size advantage. That's just I don't think they're gonna use it.
I agree. Then So, I mean, those gonna be some good games today, man. I can't wait, man. All the games gonna be on TNT with the exception of there's 2 games, Clippers and Pelicans. I think that's on NBA TV. I mean, Pelicans and Kings. And then I think the Suns and Pacers gonna be on. I think that game's on NBA TV as well.
Actually, I'm looking at out. I think it's on League Pass.
I want to say League Pass. That's what it was. League Pass. So, yep, Pelicans and Kings on NBA TV. Yeah, Pacers Suns on League Pass. But other than that, all the other games gonna be on TNT.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention Clippers versus Mavericks. I got the Clippers blowing. I got the Clippers blowing the mess out the Mavericks.
Yeah, I got them winning by blowout too. Trailblazers and Kings. No, Trailblazers and Nuggets is not on TV. That game is on League Pass as well. Man, I wanted to see that matchup. That would be a good high scoring game right there, man. But the Rockets and Lakers on TNT. Pacers and Suns is on League Pass.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, but what you got on this, Donald?
Well, I think you said Miami and the Bucks for tonight.
What's that?
You said Miami and the Bucks for tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, and I mean, Milwaukee has to win that game. I mean, they lost. They lost. The Brooklyn Nets. I mean, they have to be Miami. They can't relax. As far as I'm concerned, I don't know if the Lakers gonna beat the Bucks tonight. Are they gonna start Russell Westbrook and James Harden? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. I don't know if they're gonna start James Harden and Russell Westbrook tonight.
They aren't.
I mean, bro, they have no answer at go. They have no defensive guard on their team, man. They have no answer. Russell Westbrook and James Harden, bro. They have no answer. I'm not saying this shit, man. You crazy? Even Chris Paul beat them last night. Hey, Steven Adams took a dude out the game last night. Steven Adams took a out the game yesterday. I think he had 5 fouls. He took him out the game. Steven Adams left, came back, and stayed for the game. I'm like, damn. They got no answer for that dude. I mean, that was just disgusting yesterday. Disgusting loss. I mean, just cooking them in the post. That was just embarrassing. Straight up embarrassing. There's no. I mean, I don't think. No, they're not gonna beat the Rockets today. But the Rockets are gonna run the floor. They're gonna run into the ground. They're gonna run into the ground. Period. Well, who else plays tonight? Who plays today?
You said what?
Who else plays today? Who else?
Have you not been paying attention?
No, I mean, I forgot. I think it's like you said Denver and Portland, right?
So we got Pelicans, Kings, Heat, Bucks, Pacers, Suns, Clippers, Mavs, Trailblazers, Nuggets, and Lakers and Rockets.
Well, Denver's gonna win. It's like the Clippers are gonna beat the Mavericks. That's not even the matchup. I mean, every time I look at the Clippers, You know, he struggles. So that's not gonna be good. You can forget that. That's a W.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, the Memphis Grizzlies are out. Jared Jackson Jr., that guy, that's a big loss for them, and they can't recover from that.
I
As far
agree.
as I'm
Memphis. I think Memphis is out.
concerned, the rest of their schedule is tough. They're not winning those games. That's right. The schedule that caught up with them is just they have runs. So that's not gonna work. So no. And Sacramento, they done too, because they can't do nothing. They can't stop nobody. They put Buddy Hill on the bench and just straight up stuck up the joint. And Bogdanovich, he's taking other joint. That is just stupid.
Pretty much.
And they look at De'Aaron Fox. I mean, he good, but man, nobody on the team good. Harrison Barnes, he's taking up the joints. I mean, man, get out here. You make too much money. You're playing like that. You got Buddy Hill making what, $100 million coming out of this mission. Man, get out of here.
Yeah, pretty much, man.
They got Bogdanovich starting over Buddy Hill. There you go. Somebody tell me, how does that happen?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's when you know he about to get traded.
Well, we have to see how that plays out, man. I wouldn't put it past him.
Like, bro, that's crazy. I know what I'm saying, but look, him, Al Horford, he about to get traded too. Like, I'm making too much money to be on the bench. No, bro, I can't play it. No, that's not gonna work neither. Like, it's crazy. I mean, I'll tell you these dudes will come out the bench. I'm like, no, it should be starting. Period. I'm sorry. No, that's just bad. That's their problem.
And I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna hop on Ticket live stream he's on right now, so I'm gonna see what's going on over there. You guys hop on Ticket live stream. We're gonna chop it up over there. This your boy. Scream at me. Oh!